So F124's live service Season 3 is now a go, with the recent patch 1.10 having gone out on Monday, and I already did a whole video covering the patch with the F2 2024 cars. The first time we've got a brand new F2 chassis in the F1 games, because in real life the F2 chassis has been the same from I think it was 2018 to 2023, and now we've got something that mimics the current gen of Formula 1 cars a lot more. Along with that, we got an F1 2024 team visual update, so various sponsor updates and a few subtle car changes to all the various F1 teams. But the actual new additional content for this season's podium pass of F1 24 has not gone live until today, so I wanted to delve into it for a video and talk through the good, the bad, and I guess the mid, the alright parts of this new season. But I actually have to start this video with a small correction to the video I made on Monday. If you watched that, I went through all the updates like I just went through, and in that video I mentioned the F2 2024 cars are the complete same as the F2 2023 cars. Now that was not factually correct. There is slight differences to the engine performance, slight differences to coefficient of drag and lift on the cars, but it's not groundbreaking. Like, I went through the actual coding side by side, and a large majority of it is very much the same. When it comes to the actual handling and the AI, everything like that, that is all the same. There are just some subtle differences in the values when it comes to the lift, the drag, and the engine. So you'll subtly, if you really nitpick, feel some difference. You know, some of you guys saying in the comments below of that video on Monday that you are feeling a bit more understeer on the front end, because obviously more downforce is being generated now from elsewhere in the car compared to the front end, because the front wing is very simplified now compared to the previous generation of F2 cars, and there's a slight difference also in the actual engine power and the power delivery through the gears. But in my opinion, it is very tiny. You're still going to get a very similar experience to the old gen of F2 cars, which is not a bad thing. As I said in Monday's video, the F2 cars are actually probably the most enjoyable cars to drive, ironically, in F1 24, because the F1 cars are still so dodgy when it comes to the handling, and I actually think the AI themselves race better in F2 on this game compared to the F1 cars, because you don't have ERS in play, which is a big factor of why the racing is so annoying on F1 24. And another correction I have to do regarding F2 was I mistakenly said that F2 would be available in career mode in my team, because I just naively thought that would be a thing. Now, to be fair, F2 drivers not being available in driver career mode makes sense. It makes sense because driver career mode is meant to be the F2 23 roster into 2024, which is season 1 of driver career mode, and then you move on. It would be cool though to see in season 2 the pool updated. And the same thing for my team though. This is where I have a problem. My team, yes, I know it starts in 2024, but my team is also entirely fantastical, like having that extra team on the grid. So in my opinion, F2, the new roster of F2, should replace the old roster in new My Team saves, or like I said, with driver career mode, after season 2, place them in to the driver market. You know, we've seen extra circuits that they used to have, you know, like Portimao, or in this game, Portimao is available. Portimao can be put in after season 2, because you have that official season and then the fantasy begins. So why not have the first official season with 23 F2 drivers, and then the fantasy begins, get the new F2 drivers in, because you're, you know, depriving people of having Bearman, Antonelli, Colapinto, Bortoletto, all of these exciting new prospects that are being talked about, either confirmed into F1, or in the case of Bortoletto, being talked about maybe getting a chance at F1 with Sauber potentially. All these cool new drivers just only available in F2 stuff. Like, what a shame. What a missed open goal for some new content, some new injection into my team, into driver career mode. Yeah, so that's a correction. That's my bad. I made a mistake. I was too naive to think that they would actually just simply allow that to happen. ERS, now having played more of F1 24 since the update, and also seeing online others playing around with F124, getting more of an experience, getting more of a hands-on, because the video I made on Monday was more about just kind of updating you guys with the news. Like, I was basically reading off the article from the community manager and from EA just to inform you what the updates got and to show you the physical changes that we're seeing. But now, having played it more and seeing other people's reactions, there is a big problem with ERS on F124. I know what you're going to say. Arav, wasn't there already a big problem with ERS? This is an all-new problem that has been added to ERS with the patch. So this is the bad part of this new update for F124 in Season 3, is they somehow managed to break ERS even more. They were meant to actually fix the ERS for the AI in qualifying so that they would be more representative of times into the race, but now it's actually come out that they've made a odd decision, and it seems like it's maybe not on purpose, like it just slipped through the cracks, or is a bug, or a mistake in the coding, or whatever. But basically, the ERS that you are allowed to deploy over a lap has been doubled. So that's the green bar. The yellow one obviously is the amount that you've harvested. The green bar is how much you're allowed over a lap. And you will very quickly notice in any F1 race that that green bar is now going down very slowly. That's because the value has changed from 4 to 8 in terms of the deployment value that you're allowed over the lap. Now, this means that you have more battery to use over the lap, but it also means that if you were to run out of battery, then you really have a massive problem of not having any, maybe versus AI, but then at the same time, just anyway, away from versus the AI, just in general, why is there double the amount available randomly on the lap? Now, looking at various support messages and such, it seems like this is not an intended change, and this has been some sort of error, some sort of bug that has creeped through in this patch, and it maybe wasn't intended. And you would assume so, because it sounds like a very weird update to make, because it very much is going against what it is in real life, because I believe in real life the figure is correct, that 4 figure is correct compared to 8. That is something to report that has been broken in with this update, and the mind boggles. I will completely 180 flip to the good part of this season, which is I'm happy to report that elimination mode is still just as fun as it was. I hopped in for a little casual try on a controller, this was, and had a really decent time. Good battles, obviously, that just the general notion of elimination, seeing the timer on the top right, seeing which player is next, and having that pressure, especially when it gets to you. Like, if you're able to stay in the top 5 and it starts creeping towards you, the pressure really ramps up. I had that in my test out of it, so definitely the game mode hasn't got any worse on F124, and is not any worse with F2 cars, basically, because I think all the previous iterations we've done with elimination mode have been with the F1 cars on previous F1 games where the F1 cars weren't broken, but I'm happy to report it was definitely still as fun. So if you enjoyed elimination mode previously, you will here had a really nice moment where the pressure was on and I just about got through into the top 2 and P3 got eliminated, or the timer got reset because we swapped positions because they made a mistake at the top of the hill in Imola. Then it was a little bit of a comical way to win my first ever elimination race on F124. I'll still take the W, but it was a little love tap and the game didn't seem to think anything of it. We had a bit of overspeed, maybe the car ahead was a bit slow, but yeah, it was a love tap. I was a bit apologetic, but also at the same time, it then quickly just granted me the win of an elimination mode. But I guess that's the chaos of online. I mean, at the start of the race, everything was kicking off, so online to me in F1 is never really that clean at all, really. There's always going to be, especially in open lobbies, with the game modes like these where it's more casual, there's always going to be a bit of chaos. But yeah, that was a bit funny, and overall had a fun time with elimination mode. So that's the good part of season 3. I would say the mid part, alright, because we got bad, good, mid in the middle, like just alright, is the kind of scenario modes like Ollie Bearman in the Ferrari. Is it something to do? Yes, it's something to do. Is it cool to see? Yes, it's cool to see Bearman in the Ferrari early, because obviously next season next game, we're going to see Bearman in the Haas. You know, it's going to be multiple seasons maybe before we see officially maybe Bearman in a Ferrari if, you know, he was to, you know, get that far up in his career trajectory, or, you know, it's going to take 2 seasons of the career mode next game or whatever to see Bearman in a Ferrari with driver transfers. So to see Bearman in the Ferrari so early in this game is cool. Obviously recreating that substitute, and we rarely see much content dynamically being able to be made about, you know, sub-ins. I mean, to be fair, substitutes in F1 are quite rare anyway, but to, you know, the fact that they've decided to do that is pretty cool. I'm actually quite glad that all the red tapes with F1, Ferrari, I guess, and Bearman, whatever, allowed it to happen. That's pretty cool. I will say at the same time, that's cool to see. I've seen plenty of comments, and I'll voice them here in this video, that some are frustrated that we haven't seen an update with Colapinto in the Williams in place of Sargent, probably because it was maybe too soon with this update. I reckon this update was probably, ironically, being just tested in the last 2 race weekends when Colapinto made his debut, and so therefore there was no way to get him in. Maybe in the future, like towards the end of the year, they're hoping to do it, because Colapinto's in for half the season, basically, or not half the season, but yeah, a lot of the season, you know, 9 races is it? So that's quite a fair bit of a 24 race calendar. So I feel like, you know, also Argentinian fans would really appreciate if he was able to be put into the game, because bless him, he's not actually got a drive for next year, remember? So it'd be really cool for Argentinian fans, his fans, Williams fans, just fans of F1, because it's great to see this kid doing so well. It'd be great to see him in an official F1 game on the grid, at least just for this little bit. But yeah, the mid would be the content with Ollie Bearman. Going back to that, sorry. Off on a bit of a tangent here with the various aspects of all these updates. It's a bit of fun. It's something to do. It's like only like a 7-8 lap sort of scenario, which I guess is fine. You know, it's not meant to be a long thing. You can just plug in, play, get into it, and it will be a little bit of fun. But obviously, you do it you know, it's going to be one of those things where you do it once and then cool, that's it. Cool, I guess. Bit of content there. Let me know what you guys make of the content. Do you think it's good? Do you think it's decent? Is it enough? You know, personally for me, they're trying to push this being like a live service to the F1 game with F1 World, but I just don't, it's actually just not that much content to pretend like it's a live service edition, like they're doing us a favor of adding this new content. Like, it's not a lot. It's something you could do. You know, elimination mode, you could play over a couple of days. Yeah, sure. The Bearman stuff you'll get done in one evening. The doing content you'll get done in one evening. So there in total, you've got a week's worth of gameplay stuff. But the season for the podium pass is going to last, what, like 2 months or something? Or a month? I don't even know how long the podium pass lasts these days, because that's how unplugged into F1 World I am. I literally don't click the game mode unless I need to look at showroom to maybe record the car liveries I've installed for F1 24 career mode or whatever. But yeah, so that's the mid of the season 3. Overall, I don't think it's going to be doing too much in the ways of really drumming up excitement for the game as much as you'd want to. I would love it to. I would love to sit here and say, or know that I could go away, record a Bearman scenario video, and it would just do bits and the interest would be so high. But it's not, because it's such a simple scenario. It's a simple concept of you just stepping into a driver with a driver profile with a different helmet, a different name, that's in the Ferrari. Something you, like I said, could do technically with a mod on last year's F1 game. Now you can't, because the mods aren't there anymore, which kind of just painfully then shows how lackluster the actual content is of the actual game itself. I will preface that, going back to what I said on Monday, is the F2 content is cool. It's cool to see such a new car, an exciting car, into the game, like a new chassis. It's always cool when you get a whole new chassis of a car. It's cool to see the junior drivers, but as I said also with my correction at the start of the video, it's frustrating that someone like Antonelli isn't going to be available. Yeah, so that's my little kind of, you know, commentary, if you will, on the new F1 24 update. I thought I'd just come on here and talk about it, because you guys seem to be quite interested to hear about the update on Monday and my take on it and stuff like that. And I just felt like, you know, we've obviously made that, I made that video a couple of weeks ago talking about F1 24's problems right now. I feel like it's important for me to stay on the pulse with reviewing stuff that F1, EA and F1 are doing right now, because the game isn't in a healthy place right now, and everything is under a microscope, and it should be under my microscope, because that's only fair then to you guys who watch my content for F1 24 stuff to know my true opinions, and that I'm not just kind of plodding along with my career mode season 3 and pretending like everything's fine, and, you know, it's, you know, whatever. You know, we need to stay on it with looking at the F1 game and giving it a fair assessment. And the fair assessment is there's some good stuff here, there's some bad stuff here, the ERS being pretty bad, and then there's some alright stuff that's kind of like maybe worth your time for one evening, but that's about it. That's my fair assessment of the F1 24 update. Guys, if you have enjoyed it, hit the like button at least if you did enjoy this commentary on it. Let me know what you thought about any of those things I discussed, like those questions I had for you guys. And if you're around here, then do get subscribed for weekly Formula 1 content. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.